Good evening and welcome to Now Chat Show. I'm your girl Kaz Mack in the building alongside my beautiful co-host Tremaine, the light. Well, I was going to say Tremaine, the God, but we have to call you the correct name now, right?
Tremaine, the God.
Yeah. So you're going to take that name then?
Well, it looks like I have to, innit? Because no matter how I try, you lot are still gonna be calling me it and still call me it. But I like it though, because I love Charlemagne the God, so I do like it. But yeah, no, I'll take it. You can call me that, or the Life Guide, or Tremaine. I got so much different definitions of my name: Train, Trem, Tremaine, Tremaine. I've got everything, so I'm good. So how are you?
Love it. I love it. I love it. I am great, and welcome everybody. If it's your first time tuning in to the Now Chat Show, welcome on board. You are going to be in for a treat today because we do have an awesome, amazing guest who's going to be joining us. And I'm not going to give too much away at this present moment because we want to find out who's in the building. So if you want to just send us a comment just to say hi, what's up, so we can give you a big up. And just let us know who's in the house with us this evening. And let us know if it's your first time to the channel, and make sure you do subscribe and make sure you do comment and let us know what your thoughts were regarding the show. So Tremaine,
yes,
last week's show, yourself and Miss Iola, big up yourself, Iola, if you are watching us live. Who did we have on the show?
We had.
Who did you interview?
We interviewed. Who did we interview? Oh God, I don't want to pronounce his name incorrectly.
Oh, Jesse.
Jesse. What's his middle name? I think his middle name is he. No, what is it? Jesse. But Jesse that does. Jesse
Holistic
that does
Village.
Yeah, Holistic Village. And we had Karen that does the consultations and recruitment and development for up and coming management or managers or businesses that need some consultancy and some help with taking their business to another level and stuff. So yeah, that was really good. I really commend Karen because that's so important. I wish that I had known someone like her when I was doing all my work managing in the council, because I know that she definitely could have, mentored me or helped me develop and, get to maybe that CEO level. But so that really good insight from both of them, and just from the respect of knowing to just start a business, just start it and get going, and hearing some of the challenges, but also from Karen's point of view in terms of helping people develop and take their skills to the next level.
Yeah, so if you haven't caught up with the Now Chat Show and you haven't seen Small Business in the Spotlight, please, we really, really, really recommend you do check it out because Karen and Jesse, they gave so much gems. And if you are somebody that's potentially got in mind that you want to start a business, you don't know how to go about it, do check out that episode because you will find so much tips, and you can also get in contact with them both. Karen does actually have an event taking place next week, Friday on the 11th, called Changemakers for Women's Edit. So it's just a women's event, so don't come for me. It's not my event. I'm just a messenger. But if you do want to go to that event, we will share a discount code as well. If you catch the replay or you're watching us now, please do check it out because, like Tremaine just mentioned, she gave so much information. And if we had somebody like Karen whilst we was growing up, oh my gosh, I think so much of us will be in so many different positions. But the great thing is, even though we didn't have her growing up, we have her now. So we get, we get the wisdom that we have. And if you go down to the event, you just don't know what more you're going to receive. And that can also position you to the next stage in your life, in your career, or your small business, or your business that you're trying to create or have already created. So do check it out. I will put that information into the actual comments itself. So please, please, please do check it out. And it will also be in the description after the show. Yes. So also we okay, so can I just be me? Big up yourself. Laverne's in the building. So guys, do check out Laverne as well. She's on Instagram. She does a lot of work for young people and for women as well, women that are struggling with like confidence issue, etc. This is your go-to girl. She's not like any ordinary coach. In fact, Laverne, are you dressed? Are you like dressed right now? Because if you are, I'm going to share the link so you can just pop in for like maybe 5 minutes if you can. And yeah, just tell us a bit about yourself. Just let me know. Just give me the thumbs up. It would literally just be 5 minutes because our guest is going to be joining us in a moment. So just say yay or nay. I've got your details, so I'm going to WhatsApp it to you. Tremaine, if you can just talk to the audience while
last week was a very inspirational show, and I really like that we, you know, have a platform for people that have new businesses or have a business or business ideas or just really great knowledge that they can share. So if you are a new business and you would like to come on the platform and talk about your business and your journey so far, and it really does encourage people and help people that, you know, have an idea but don't know where to start, please contact the Ordinary Woman Chat Show. You can send an email, or you can find us on Instagram, and you can just DM Kaz and let her know if you really would like to come on the show and show your business and share your knowledge and that, because, you know, each one teach one is very important for us to share knowledge. And listen, collaboration is the key. We have to work together, you know, and I'm telling you, you can get so much, you know, a bigger level of success if you collaborate, because there's so much things that other people know that you might not know, and it can just, you know, take your business to a next level. Even just your own self-development help with that as well. So yeah, please get in touch, because every month we have a feature where we feature businesses, and it's a great platform to be on. So yeah, so this week is going to be a great week. One thing I love about Kaz, you know, she always gets some great people to come on the show and really, you know, highlight themselves or talk to us about their journeys, or, you know, things that they think can really help people, whether it be books or, you know, traveling to certain countries and stuff. So also, if you want to come on the show to talk about whatever it could be spirituality, it could be your Black history, it can be music, it can be you know, homelessness, like we've had people come on talk about that. So it's anything really. This platform is for everyone to come and showcase their business, or just, you know, have a great conversation about whatever journey or experiences they're going through in their life. So please get in touch with us, because we love to hear the stories. And you know, you touch so many people's lives when you talk about your story as well.
Yes, and we want to big up to Leah Charles King, who is on the building. I cannot believe it. Like, this is one of like my mentors. I say mentors, and I really mean mentor. Like, she's really helped me with regards to this whole media journey experience. I've done some training with her. So do, guys, make sure you also checking her and following her on the Instagram, and you can catch her on our mainstream television where she does Home in the Sun. So do check her out. She is a true inspiration to so many of us, and she's like such an inspiration to me because she makes me know that it is possible. And yes, so guys, make sure you do follow her, because she is just doing awesome work out there. And yeah, she's absolutely amazing. But you know what? We do have an amazing guest that's going to be joining us real soon. And I just wanted to see if Laverne. Oh, Thank you so much, Leah. So great to see you ladies doing your thing. Amazing show. Thank you, Queen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And so we do have Alysha Warren in the background in the studio. I wanted to play one of her songs, but for some reason it just wouldn't upload. So you guys, we're not going to get to see the visual vocal, but I'm sure Alysha is going to bless us with some vocal throughout the show, like raw acapella style or something like that. No pressure, Alysha. She's maybe thinking, really? Is Cass for real? Like, why should you put this on me? Like, you know what? That's live TV, right? We're just doing our thing. No live TV on the chat show. Everything is like now.
Yes, and just by the way, guys, very beautiful tonight. That color, boy, you be popping on the screen. So yes, love it. Love that top you're wearing.
Thank you so much, Queen. And you're looking real cute as well. I see you with your red and the blondes. You know, Alysha's there with the blondes. I'm in with the blondes. So you trying to be part of it?
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying.
All right, so let's bring on our guest. And her name is Alysha Warren. She is the psalmist, singer, songwriter, worship leader, and she is a God lover. She's a God-fearing woman. So let's bring her into the building. Hi, Queen. How are you? You're looking fabulous over there. Looking like a
thank you.
Snack and all of that, you know?
Oh, bless. I can hear you, like, you know, you guys are so relaxed. I'm a little bit, you know, like, yeah, you guys are just so relaxed, just banter. I love it. Love your show. It's just, just makes you just feel so like no pressure or anything, you know. People just think, because it's live, you know, camera, lights, action. And then it's like you go into, you put this mask on, whereas we shouldn't put a mask on. You haven't put a mask on, and I feel encouraged about that. So I won't be wearing mine today.
Makeup mask. But hey, well, let's talk about you. Let's talk about Alysha, because it's been a minute. I've been trying to get you on the show, and we finally made it happen after how many years now? Because I think I first met you in 2016 at the Legacy Gala.
That's right.
And yes, and then I saw you again at the Black Excellence Awards, which Janelle, Paula, and Owen actually orchestrated for the Chambers of Commerce at Boys. Right. And I could see you, and I just couldn't get to you. There was so much amazing people in the in that space, and you was one of them. And I was just like, oh, because obviously I was doing the interviewing for the media team, and unfortunately I wasn't able to interview them, but I'll get to interview tonight. So do tell us, and those who are watching now and those who are catching the replay later, who is Alysha Warren?
Wow, Alysha Warren. I'm still trying to discover me. You know, I had a song in the world, it was called Discover Me. But first of all, I just want to thank you for, you know, inviting me on, and, you know, just me being here to share. Because I know, you know, sometimes we don't think that we're helping somebody, like, you know, who's got dreams and visions that they want to, you know, do, but they just think, they keep looking inward. And I've been there, you know. But let's go back to the question you've asked me. And I'm still trying to find Alysha Warren, even though I'm an experienced singer and songwriter. I used to sing pop music. Before that, I was in the I came from a church background where my grandparents grew us up in this big house in South London, and on the New Testament Church of God church. And, you know, all of my life, from the time I was walking, talking, I knew church, I knew the Bible, because I was raised in my grandparents' house, who were very God-fearing. So, you know, every day was church. So the reason why I want to speak about that as well, so that you can get a gist of who I am and how it all started off. Because, you know, if you train up the child in a certain environment, that environment affects the child at some point in their life, whether it's trauma, whether it's happiness. But, you know, I remember my childhood to be very, very rich and happy. And, you know, one of the things that my grandmother discovered is that I could sing at the age of 2 and hold a note.
Wow.
And, you know, so when she was cooking in the kitchen, she used to say, my nickname's Paula. And she said, Paula, come, sing one song for me. You know, she taught me this song, This Little Light of Mine, I'm Going to Let It Shine. You know, everyone knows that Sunday school song. And I grew up, you know, with music. We was taught music, how to read music at the age of 4 and 5. We had a teacher that would come in and teach the whole house piano lessons and how to read music. So I come from a very musical family and a very God-fearing background, very strict. You know, we couldn't watch certain movies, and, you know, we couldn't even listen to the radio because it had secular music on. So that's the kind of intense of fear of God in the house, you know, that we was raised in. My granddad, he just was so not, you know, he was strict, but, you know, he was obeying what was written in the book that he believed in, which was the Bible. So, you know, I was brought up that way. But then, even though I was brought up in that beautiful family and very protected, I went through a lot of trauma and, you know, things that happened to me in my teenage, when I became a teenager, and I was 13. And I believe that even though it was traumatic, but that has made me the person who I am today, to have that kind of compassion towards people. And I always had a thing about elderly people from I was like 4. When I was in church and I used to see elderly, I used to cry. And I didn't know that that would be my job after I left the pop industry and I became a born-again Christian. And that was the job. You know, I wasn't used to doing a 9 to 5, but that was the job I got. I was working for Bupa at the time and looking after the elderly at the third phase of my life, you know. So, you know, in the beginning, I was raised in the church. In my teens, you know, I went through a lot of trauma, running away from home, being on the streets, you know, being kidnapped, you know, being raped and all sorts. But, you know, I'm here, you know, I'm alive to tell the tale. And that, I believe, that helped mold me the way I am towards people who's been through similar things. Or I pick it up very quickly because I know that feeling, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, absolutely. Wow. I've just got goose pimples all on my arms and everything.
wow.
Because, you know, obviously you're talking about the trauma, you're talking about rape, being on the streets. And, you know, obviously you mentioned about you growing up in a home with your family.
Right.
So, and obviously not being able to listen to, like, say, secular music, etc. So how, and I'm sorry if this sounds insensitive, but how is it that from such a young age that you went through all of this in terms of being raped, having been running away from home, or, you know, things like that, but then yet being brought up in such a so-called safe kind of environment? How was these things able to manifest onto yourself?
Well, I think that my parents, which was my grandparents, they were the immediate parents, but obviously my mum, she was in the picture a lot, so we'd go down there for holidays. Remember, she had us when she was very, very young, so she went back to work. So obviously, we was raised with grandma in a very full house, because I've got an uncle that is like a year and a half older than me, so. It's
Right.
almost like I grew up alongside my uncles and aunties who are, not far away in age. Like I've got an auntie that used to teach me how to, stand up in church and sing solo. When they used to put me on the chair, she's like, what, maybe 6 years older than me, and so, we were like brothers and sisters. As you said, I was brought up in a very protective home. But these things happened to me when, away from home, being in a different environment. My grandparents had a really safe environment. But when we went to uncles and aunties and, like weekends or school holidays, and things happen, and that's, I was drugged and abused at 13. So I don't remember everything because I woke up and but these things didn't happen in the home that I was raised in. So
yeah. So was this with people that you knew, or?
Yes, it was a family member that did that to me.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Yeah.
So,
he was on drugs and that.
Oh.
Yeah.
So can you speak a little bit about why did you run away? Is it because of what would
the shame
of that situation?
Yeah, I was so shamed.
What age
I was 13.
Oh, when you ran away.
Yeah, and it was something that it was so embarrassing. You just feel like you feel dirty. You always want to keep trying to wash it off of you. I mean, I've heard people say this, but I just thought it was my problem. It's not until I got older and I heard other people's
stories.
Yeah, and this thing about this cleansing thing, that in your mind you're thinking that if I keep washing myself, it will come off. But it was only until I went back to church. That's when I got my healing.
And what age?
Right.
Yeah, I went back to church because I was living a lie, from I was 13 way up until I was 30, in my 30s, and pretending that nothing never happened to me. So I was very loud because I was always trying to hide this pain, this pain that I was going through, or, and the shame of it.
Yeah.
And, it was just horrible. And then after that, because I ran away and I was staying with friends when I was like 14, 15, it was like, it was written on my head, get this girl and abduct her. So I'd get abducted by this drug lord in my area. Oh. Anytime he'd see me, he would just abduct me. And then, it was just, I went through that. I mean, I'm talking about it now because I'm so healed, delivered, and everything. But before, I could not speak about it.
Yeah.
And because it was so shameful. And,
Yeah.
So,
yeah, sorry, carry on, Alysha.
Yeah, so, going through all of that trauma, and then when, I was like locked up in the house for like 3 days with this person, and then I'd have to go back to my home, and everyone's wondering, where you been? So, in a Jamaican home, you're going to get lashed.
Yep.
You're going to get some licks because they just think that you're out with your friends and you're having a party, but they don't realize. And you're too scared to tell them because they're going to say, what was you doing on the street? But I was coming from school. I got abducted at the bus stop. Do you know what I mean? So
was your parents not looking for you or saying like,
well, because my mum lived a bit of a way, and so sometimes what would happen is if I went down to my mum's sometimes to help out, or so I could be at my grandma's or stay at my mum's.
Oh,
if you understand.
Yeah, so they would just think that you
right.
gone to your
Yeah, but until they find out she wasn't there, and then the licks will
come.
But I went through a lot as I was growing up, and I had to hide this pain, of shame that I went through as a teenager. So, I believe that I was guided all through, and even though I went through that, God still kept me in my right mind. And I didn't go over to, just letting myself go and
down to drugs
onto drugs and that. He kept me through it, but it was still painful to carry that, So, but
I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, because I mean, for anybody that is listening and you have been triggered by this, please do get in contact with the Samaritans on 116-123 if you have been triggered, because there may be somebody that's either catching the replay or watching now, and you've gone through a similar story to what Alysha's actually sharing with us. So please don't suffer in silence, or do find somebody that you can speak to. Do get help. If you know anybody as well who's going through a similar journey to what Alysha just shared just now, please do get some help. Yeah. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Because I'm just, I'm listening. So in terms of everything, like the rape, deduction and everything else, how was you able to, come from there and then be in the United States? Because I'm just trying to, you didn't share.
Yeah, well, when I was like 15, 16, I kind of went back home because when I was out there, I got pregnant. I got knocked over by a car and I lost my son, which was very traumatic. And, they nearly lost me. I was resuscitated. And I lived through that. And the following year, I had my daughter, which is Cherry. Her name's Cherry. And, she's a singer as well. After that, after having Cherry, and when she was like 4, 5, I started, doing music again. And I went up to Southend and I recorded a song called Touch Me. And the song, I got a record deal with RCA, and I got a massive check. My life kind of was turning around for the better, and I had really good, happy times.
How old was you around this time?
I think I was about 20 or 21 when I got my first deal. Yeah, and I bought my house when I was 21. Wow. My first house when I was 21. And because that time the music industry was quite very they would really sign you and really look after you financially with they would give you an advance on the belief that they think that you're going to sell a lot of units. And when I did sing, they just thought, yes, we believe that she's going to be like Anita Baker or one of them. Because at the time, those were the established artists at the time, when I got my record deal. So, that journey was a really nice experience because I always kind of dreamt about it, but I didn't never believe that I would end up having a record deal and a manager and traveling the world and doing all different things, And then I ended up with a very good management team, and I was living in America and living here. But obviously, you know, my daughter was in private school at the time, so I just couldn't be there too long. I had to keep coming back, you know, spend time with her, obviously, because I just couldn't be out there for too long. I missed her so much, so I had to come back and, you know, keep going backwards and forth.
Which
but
part
you know,
was you in?
I was in LA.
Oh wow!
Okay. Yeah,
right.
And I spend a lot of time in Chicago as well, because I was supposed to be doing an album with Steve Silk Hurly at the time.
Yeah.
So I spent a long time in Chicago, and you know, that was a really nice experience working with Shantae Savage and some of those great artists. Yeah.
Wow.
So I had a really good experience.
It sounds good.
Sorry?
What I'm hearing so far about your story, it just sounds like a movie. Like it just, like it's like I could just see this, you know, like it's just a movie.
Yeah, but it would have to be like a series, because there's so much big, you know, events that happens. So there would have to be a series, boy. People would be glued to the TV. You've got to, you know, everything in it that, you know, makes a movie successful, you know, but it's sad, obviously, the traumatic side of it. So, but yeah, as I agree, easily a movie, or you know, like a Matrix where they have 3 parts to it or something.
Yeah, I love that movie, The Matrix. Yeah, one of my favorites. Yeah,
me too.
So going back and forth, because obviously you're saying you're having to go back and forth because obviously your daughter's in private school in England, and you know, you're in Chicago, in Chi-Town, you're in LA, you're working with some amazing artists, and then you end up on is it Different World as well?
Yeah, I did the Different World when I was in LA. Yeah, I was in LA and I was working with Atlantic Star. I did a duet with them for the show. And they invited us to just do a little episode of maybe 2 or 3 episodes. I think I've got it somewhere in the attic in my house at home, back at home. And yeah, that was a really good thing. And then I did the Michael Jordan advert.
Yes. You did a soundtrack, right?
That's right, soundtrack from Michael Jordan, yeah. And that was really good, because I was only supposed to be there as a backing vocalist and or just to do something. But when they heard me, they swapped everything around and just got me to do the whole song. But that was a good experience. And I actually went to one of the big games in LA and met Michael Jordan, Vivica Fox. They had a big thing. They have these big things with the NBA, and I was there. So that, you know, when you're actually in America, and if you're signed to like Warner Bros and Polydor, you know, you meet your label mates, but your label mates are like Christopher Williams. I mean, when I was in LA, I was in the studio with these people, and I was like, wow.
Christopher Williams? Did you say Christopher Williams? Like
Christopher Williams,
What's that?
Yeah.
Christopher.
Sorry, yeah. He was hot in the day. I mean, I was sweating and shaking and all sorts.
Nice.
He was hot.
Yes,
he was hot.
Everyone loved him.
Everyone loved him.
Him.
I tried to work with him in the studio. I just didn't want to sing. I was just like.
What was that movie he was in with Wesley Snipes? New Jack City.
New Jack City.
Oh, even though he was an idiot in that film, but he still was buff. Like I was just like, let me just. Sorry, Alysha.
But you know, when I was working with them, I wasn't as you know, a sanctified Christian at the time, so you know, it was very hard, you know, to be at these places, and you get stuck in the lift with people like Naughty by Nature. I don't know if you remember them. And
yes,
it was just like you just
come on.
But you know, I did learn how to pray again when I was in that situation. Trust me, because you know, you can lose your mind. You know, you know when you're so young and you look up to these artists. I was like in my 20s and just like, so you know, when I was talking to my friends in England, they were like, "What?" And you know, we didn't have mobile phones and all of that stuff. We did, but we had those brick phones, if you remember.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm showing my age. No, I don't remember that.
Listen, we know that.
You was there. I was there. There. You weren't living your colourful life. Your life is so colourful, considering everything, the traumatic, what you know, the trauma that you've gone through. Your life is still being so colourful. You know, your experience, the deals that you've signed to, the opportunities. So me just want to know why you give it up.
Aha! It was my grandmother. They wouldn't stop praying for me because remember, you know, that when I was in church, when I was like 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, I used to be like, New Testament was quite established. I had churches everywhere in London, Midlands, Stevenage, Birmingham, everywhere. So they used to have these like conventions and programs. So, you know, that we'd sing at. And Grandma always used to write my name down. She goes, go and give it to the man up there. And when he calls me, I must go up and sing. She just always was promoting us to sing. You know, she had this thing about, and we just went to play with the other kids. But, you know, Grandma wanted us to sing because she knew when we was in the house, we were singing in the house. So she wanted people to hear us. And, you know, she was almost like our first agent, you know, God rest her soul, she's passed on. But, you know, if it wasn't for Grandma, I don't think none of us would be singing or playing any instruments.
So your family is a family of musicians as well?
Yeah, my sister, my other sister, and my uncles and aunties, they all got like degrees in music. My auntie, she teaches music. I mean, you know, the whole family is just, you know, when we get together on a Sunday, we was on the piano, messing around. I mean, I used to play the piano. I just remember the compositions that I made up. I just don't know how to read music anymore, but I need to go back to that, I think. But,
it's still there. It's still there.
Yeah, it's still there, definitely. But, you know, I think all of that was to, you know, what Grandma did. It helped me now, you know, to get over nerves and sing in front of so many people, you know. But when I did secular music, that was the difference. I noticed I was always scared. I was scared. I was very scared to sing in the public, but the fear. But when I sing and I'm a worship leader, you do get this tingling thing, but it's not tormenting.
Okay.
It's different. So that's the difference that I look at. It's secular music and gospel music. Gospel music, you know, you're singing about the gospel. You're singing an inspirational song that is going to affect somebody, whether it's through the TV, through streaming, because the words are positive. The words are from the Bible. And, you know, it does exactly what it says it's going to do. I mean, even last week, I was singing a gospel song in a secular place, and the way they were affected, you know, you forget sometimes, you know, how powerful gospel music is.
Yeah, no, it's different.
Yeah, it's different. So
it's actually different. It's like it's a spiritual thing, isn't it? Just like they say, dancing for argument's sake, or some African music for me, it's very spiritual. Like, or when you hear Rastaman beating the drums, you know, the bongo drums, it's like there's a thing is spiritual. It just feels it touches you in a different way. What gospel definitely does that. That does that for me, you know. And sometimes that feeling can be overwhelming because it just fills you up, you know. But yeah, I definitely understand.
It makes you emotional.
Yeah, definitely.
And that it also makes you emotional as well, because it's like it's feeding into your spirit. So, you know, like, because you obviously, just going back to when you were saying that when you were singing it in terms of like secular music, you would have this feeling of, you know, you wouldn't feel so comfortable, etc. Whereas when you're singing like gospel music, it feels so different. But even when you're saying in regards to, say, gospel music, it is the word, but there's a lot of gospel music, and I will say this, and, you know, please don't take offense because it's not directed at you, but some of the music doesn't sound, it's not like word based, do you know what I mean? And some of it, to be quite honest, I'm not really going to sing it because some of it sounds quite moany, and it's not really uplifting. It's really quite, you know, just, it's not uplifting as such, do you know what I mean, kind of thing. And I don't find that all, say, gospel singers, leaders, etc., are not worldly, because a lot of them tend to want to, they act as if they're in the world, but using, say, gospel or using Christ as that kind of that marketing tool, but they're still very worldly. So what's your thoughts on that? Because, you know, you're saying about secular, you're saying about gospel, but to me, some of it is just equally the same, because the maneuver, the behavior is exactly the same.
Yeah, I hear you. And you're absolutely right. You know, as in anything, you get good politicians, get bad politicians. You know, you got, people who are really serving for God. And you got some people, as you said, that are using it, you know, to catapult, you know, to become famous or popular or whatever. They have their agenda, but, you know, at the end of the day, it all comes back to you, to your, you know, what kind of heart you have, and what do you want to do? You know, do you have the passion of the Christ, where you want to serve and help the poor, the hungry, or you know, help somebody in need? Or are you just here just to, as you said, to look good? Or you just, or my brother said, God, I can't differentiate gospel music from secular music anymore, you know, unless it's How Great Thou Art or it's a hymn. Then they kind of like, oh yeah, I remember the grandma used to sing that. Or, you know, they remember going to church and hearing a lot of hymns. Whereas, as you said, now they don't mention Christ, and which is a shame, because, you know, gospel music is very powerful. And if you use it, the tools in the right way, and if you're serving at that table, whereas, you know, you're asking me, why did I leave secular music? And my answer is, it's because it didn't have any power. It didn't have anything to heal the broken heart that I had, or the brokenness that I was a mess. I didn't realize how messed up I was until I walked into Ruach Ministries on the 25th of January 1998, and I brought my sister for prayer, but I got saved.
Wow.
You know, so it's funny. I had an agenda to help my sister, but
you needed to
I got, yeah, but I like the way you said that. Absolutely.
It's like going on a plane, isn't it? When you go on a flight, they always say, make sure if anything happens, you put your mask on first before you put on anybody else's. We're always trying to help other people other than ourselves.
And we're messed up,
you know.
And I always have that habit. And I think it had a lot to do with, you know, the shame that I went through. And you know, when one of the signs of someone who's very broken is that they're always trying to help, always trying to, you know, do something for somebody, and when it's them that need it. And, you know, And I think that's what I was always not acting, but always trying to help someone. But really, it was myself that needed the healing. She needed it too. We both needed it. But I think because of the rape and the trauma and what I went through, I remember one day, as I got older, somebody tried to do it to me as I got, force themselves on me. And I don't know how I got out of it, but I said, enough is it? I'm not going through this anymore. And I kind of like got out of that situation. I don't know if it was God that helped me, but I just came out of it, and it never happened again, ever.
Yeah.
And I think that your self-worth, your self-value, it starts with yourself. And you can only get to that place when you become whole again. You can't do anything for anyone when you're broken in pieces.
Yeah. I think that when you were saying about always helping people, but you needed help, I think that was your way of coping. It was your coping mechanism of dealing
That's right.
And deflecting from dealing with you, but keeping yourself busy fixing everybody else or trying to help everybody else. So I think it sounds like it was like a coping mechanism for you.
Yeah, and hiding behind it as well.
Yeah.
It's like,
I was just about to say that you're not dealing with it.
Yeah, exactly. And I kept saying in my mind, it didn't happen. No way, it didn't happen. No. And then sometimes it will replay in your mind sometimes, and you'd be like, God. And that's when you start to feel like you're not worth anything.
Yeah.
But when you're walking down the street and people are saying, God, you look amazing, and in your mind, you're thinking, what are they talking about? Do they know what happened to me? Do they, there was... So, it's like a double-edged sword that was going on when I was in that space. From I was in my teens, 20s, and my 30s. I got saved. I went back to the Lord when I was in my 30s, and that's when I got my healing. So I was
going to say, so would you say that going back into singing gospel music or going back into the church, that helped heal? Or did you do any therapy? Did you do any other stuff along that, or was it just the church?
You know what? When I gave my life to Christ, I just thought I was never going to sing again. I don't know why I thought that. I just thought, I'm in church now, I have to live the life. For my grandparents, they were examples of the Christians that we saw, and they really lived the life, washing each other's feet, bringing their neighbors, groceries, helping each other buy a house. I mean, they lived so good. And, they weren't dipping their lives into secular and then coming back. They lived that life, And so in my mind, when I became saved, I just thought, yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing because that's what I knew. So I just thought I won't be singing again. That's it. Now I'm going to be serving the Lord and helping whoever I can help, and win souls for Christ. Tell people that you can get out of that situation, whether you're on crack or whatever, you've been raped or you're a prostitute. No matter what the situation is, I just thought I was going to be instrumental in that area alone. I never, believed that I would get into singing again. I just thought that was over.
But it was a gift. But the thing is, it's a gift that was given to you. So there's no way I could imagine the Almighty blessing you with a gift and then to remove it for you not to use it. Do you get what I'm saying? There's so many other people that, things because they've gone through a traumatic experience that gift is no longer valid.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. And I remember me being in that space at the time, I just thought that that's what I thought for now. I'm a very intense person. You know, Alysha Warren is like, you know, I'm absolute. If I make a decision about that, I don't waver, if you know what I mean. And in my mind, I just thought, I won't be singing again, because I just thought that's what the secular people did. And I know I did it in church, and I sang with my sisters, or I sang solo when I was growing as a kid. But it was a different way. It was different. It wasn't to get self-glory or to show off your vocals. It wasn't like that. It was always to minister, if you understand. So, but there was a lady in Rurik, and she'd hear me singing, and I ended up back in the choir, and then I ended up in the worship team. So, I was restored, and I started singing again, and it was different. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it was beautiful. The feeling, and it was just, I don't know. I just always felt like if I gave out something, then God will put something back in me. I was never like, he's just a good father, a very good father, and he does take care of you. Whereas when you do secular music, you feel kind of drained, and it's good. Everyone's saying, "Gosh, you're amazing. Your songwriting, your gift is amazing." But then you go home, and then you just feel a little like like your ego's been stroked, if you understand what I mean. And then you've got all these people that worship you, but they don't realize it's worship, if you understand what I mean. Whereas when you're singing gospel, you're bringing the attention not to yourself, but to the person, to God, to bring some kind of redemption, healing, or whatever it is, restoration to whoever's, it's just different. It's different. I can't explain it, but it's different. So,
but I understand what you're saying.
I love where I am in the terms of being a vessel for God. I love that.
But like what you're describing in terms of people, like almost like worshiping you, whereas you singing and doing praise and worship is to bring people to that, I would say, like to that almost to that energy where they could actually get into the presence of the Lord, so that they can then worship the Lord. You're using your vocals to get to that place. But do you find that when you look at the world that we're living in, that we tend to worship, say like we worship like the Beyoncés, all these different artists, whereas it's now become about glorifying them rather than glorifying the Almighty that has given them that gift to be able to lead people to them. So whereas now we're living in a world we are actually glorifying artists that's got vocals, because I always think to myself, so if I'm digressing a little bit, is why do we so much into artists or entertainers or people that has these kind of gifting? We just idolize them so much, where they're imperfect people, but it's like people in business. Do you know what I mean? It's like, think about, like, say, the R. Kelly scenario. Everybody always knew about what they knew about R. Kelly, but we still be jamming to the tunes and whatever. I still do sometimes. I'm not going to lie. But, I said the name of love and all that. I do it every now and then, because regardless of what he's done, he still had this gift that still, he produces certain kind of music, but we worship these people. And I think what I'm kind of getting from you is that how we're not really supposed to be worshiping the person that's giving. We're supposed to be bringing the worship to the creator rather than man.
But
is that kind of...
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. But the R. Kelly scenario, which is, remember, you know, when I was doing music, I can only go from my experience, and I can look at R. Kelly and say, okay, he was found guilty of whatever, but he was singing about his flesh, if you understand. It was not just about his flesh, but it was always to do with, you know, life experiences, relationships, people. You know, it was never to do with the Bible or the Word of God. So this is what differentiates the worshipper from the artist. Whereas the worshipper now, if you read in Leviticus and you look at David's tabernacle, they would rehearse for 16 hours. Why was that? Because, and you remember, God said, give them the tithe, because he didn't want them to have a job, because he wanted them to live a purified, consecrated, sanctified life to usher his presence in. So this is what makes the secular music different from the gospel, because you know, if we're going to lead worship, or we're in a worship team, you know, it's not new. It's something from David's tabernacle in the Bible. And if you look about how they used to rehearse for the purpose of God's presence, and they had to live a lifestyle of worship, and they couldn't do a 9-to-5 job. Their job was to rehearse, to live a consecrated life, so that they could be pure, to usher in the presence of God. So that's the difference between secular music and secular singers and then Christian singers or worshippers. And really, and obviously, as you said, the church, some churches or worship leaders or gospel singers, they're just living, or they're quite similar to the world now. You can't differentiate sometimes in the music. And, you know, and I think that those things need to be rectified and addressed, you know, because if you're living for Christ, you need to be that way. And if you're in the system, as they call it, the matrix, you know, you're living that way. If you understand.
But then how do you then reach people who are not, say, in the church, so to speak? Do you get what I'm saying?
Well,
as much as this conversation, because when you think about the life of, say, Yeshua, when I read the gospel, I didn't see a Jesus or a Yeshua that was like in the church. It wasn't even in church. It was synagogue, because he's a Jew. Do you get what I'm saying? He wasn't even called a Christian, but ultimately he was on road. Like, I always see it as if Yeshua was if he was existing in the streets that we were living in today, he would be with the bad mans then, because that's who he was with. The tax collectors, the prostitutes. Do you get what I'm saying? He weren't with these people that were trying to go on like they're all religious and saying, boy, you can't listen to secular music. Jesus would probably be in one dance and just like, just holding a reason. Do you get what I'm saying? That's what I visualize, because how then do you reach those people?
Yeah, and that's one thing I want.
That's just
you know what? Yeah, I totally agree. I agree with you in that. I do believe that, because he did say, go into the highways and the byways, and preaching the gospel, which is the good news. He said, go into the highways and the byways. In other words, go into the world.
Yeah.
But you mustn't be like the world. You can't, you know, you must
something different about it.
If the salt loses its flavor, it has no use. You know, salt is symbolic of cleansingness, purification, and all different. You know, everything to do with the Almighty is that's what he calls the Christians. You know, we cannot. We must be like, you know, on fire for God and telling people the danger that is ahead with their soul. You know, and this is why he came, because in this world, you know, it's a world full of sin. And some people will be like, oh, there's not a hell, there's not a heaven. Oh, when you die, you just die. Or some people believe you come back as a rat or a dog or whatever if you do good, you come back something. Then people's got all these different ways. But you know what? When you look at the Bible and the Word of God, it's so tangible because there's evidence of a Jericho wall. There's evidence of a flood. There's pure evidence. Even in the cosmos, there's evidence that Christ came through the stars. There was a cluster of stars when he came. So, you know, there's evidence everywhere to do with the Bible. It's the biggest seller in the world, the book, out of any other book. Gospel music is they don't talk about it in the media, but it's the biggest industry ever. The songs that were written for Christ.
Is it bigger than hip hop and that? Because I thought hip hop's the biggest industry now. I'm just asking. I don't know.
Well, that's what the media says.
Okay, but it's not. Okay.
It's really not. I'm not saying it's not popular. It is, but the best-selling book today still is the Bible. You know?
I wanted to make a point about the circular music and how we reach people that aren't Christians or aren't going to church and stuff. And I just wanted to say, like, for me, I've not really been a gospel music player in the house over the years. Yeah. Then we had a verses between Frank, oh Lord, what am I thinking? Kirk Franklin and Fred Hamilton. And
Hammond,
sorry.
Yeah,
and I really enjoyed it. And one of the things that I remember is that they said that they both had a chance to work with Kanye West, and they both played samples of the songs they'd done with him. And when I heard the samples, I was like, God, this sounds good. So it made me want to listen to more and go into it more. So then I did some, I looked Kanye up and I started listening to some music, and I was thinking, this is good. And then the way that he does gospel music or did gospel music, it really related to me, and it just made it more current. And I know a lot of young guys that listen to his albums, and a lot of them now are gospel rap. But before he did like the gospel rap, and he did a gospel album, and he went across the world, Jamaica, everywhere doing his show. So good. And I'm telling you, because of him, like every morning I play gospel music now. I play Fred Hammond, I play Kirk Franklin, I play what's the other guy? Marvin Sapp, is it
Marvin Sapp? Marvin Sapp. Yeah.
Kanye songs as well. And that's just off of the back of listening to the Kanye songs, and then I started wanting to hear more of others. So there is that thing where it does help people and let people be able to relate to it, and then it gave me a hunger to hear more. And now when every morning I have to play my gospel every single morning.
Fantastic.
I dance to it. That's how I start my day, worshiping.
Wow.
It just uplifts me every morning. So I think that it's important to have people, especially because we're in a different time now, and people relate to things differently. And I do think someone like Kanye West, because he's very, is a genius musically, he was able to do a thing, and people do, I wouldn't want to say worship, but people do really admire him. So he was able to grab people, because he grabbed me, and I never played gospel, and I'm in my late 40s. So
and that's
some have people like that, because it makes you, you know, gravitate or get interested in or seek that relationship with God, or you know, and those things is important as well. I think sometimes there are different ways we have to approach things to get people in and to get them to believe, or you know, connect with their source or with their maker. But yeah,
excellent.
Just say that about the circular music and getting new people.
Yeah. And you know, look, he's an influencer, Kanye West.
Yeah, very
And
deep.
you know, the Bible does say, train up the child in the way it should grow, it will never depart from him. I'm at that example. I was raised in the church, and I remember being in the world, and if I was on a plane, because I took so many planes in those days, and if I was in trouble, I would get on my knees and pray. You know, it's something that never leaves you. Once you train up the child that way. And his mother and his grandparents or whoever was instrumental in raising him in the church. If you know, it's the songs that, I know you probably don't notice it, but the songs that he was singing were the songs that came out when he was young. And it's never left him. So when he came back, he played, those are the songs. He didn't play the new Hill songs. He played like the old school, well, not old school, but the ones when he was growing up. Do you know what I mean? So it never left him. And I know people like to write him off, but you know, Apostle Paul said this in one of in the New Testament scriptures. He said, it doesn't matter what gender they have, let the gospel be preached. So, you know, when some church people are like, oh, I saw Kanye West at the hip hop, and he ain't living the life. But you know what? It's a process. You know, you don't become this purified person. You know, you die daily. You know, like you even said, you before you started your mornings, it wasn't like that until you got introduced to gospel music through Kanye West, which is an influencer. You know, God used him. It's not, you know, because he knows he's a great influencer. You know, to the people that who you know was not exposed to that way of growing up or that music. You know, sometimes you go to a place when people have never heard gospel music before. Like when I went to Germany, and the women were on one shoulder here, one there, one in my chest, one behind me, one on my ankles and the other ankles. They were just crying because they have not experienced the power of God. These are Hitler's generation where they wasn't even allowed to listen to music. Their parents, if you know what I mean, their foreparents. So, you know, so when we went to Germany and sung some praise and worship and some gospel, we did some gospel concerts around Germany. You know, they were just, please, we want what you have, you know. You know, they were exposed to it, the power of God, you know. So, you know, it never left Kanye West. He knows the power.
Yeah, he definitely does. He definitely You know, when he does his interviews and he would say, I am a God, and people looked at him like he was mad, but we're all gods. We all have made in God's image and we're all gods. So, you know,
little gods, well, there's the greater one is in us who created us, obviously. So, you know, but yes, you know, we serve a great Father, and you know, he says he's going to make us, you know, heirs. We are heirs to his throne. So, you know, there's no egotistical thing going on there, or no cliques going on there. It's, you know, it's love. God is love.
Yeah, he is.
And he's not a person who's trying to laud himself and oh, I'm God. You know, it's not like that. Love is not, it doesn't force you, it's gentle. And God is a gentleman, you know. He doesn't force himself on anyone. And he's not rude. Love is not rude. You know, love is not quick-tempered. It's not, you know, love of God is beautiful. I mean, once you experience that presence, it's just amazing. I fell in love with him anyway when he spoke to me. And that's why I left the secular music, because when I was in Israel, he spoke to me. I heard his voice.
Yeah.
He came after me and spoke to me. And I'm telling you, and I'm in a big auditorium in Jerusalem. They had a big Pentecostal conference. I went there with some church people. My grandmother invited me with the New Testament Assembly Church, which was Bishop Powell then. And I had my belly pierced. You know, them times you wear the crop tops there, so you show a bit of your midriff with your piercing. And, you know, I had these big plaits down here and in Jerusalem. I was loaded. I had so much money those days. They didn't like me, obviously, because I weren't them. I wasn't a Christian. So, and I looked up to God and I kept speaking to him, because that's one thing I never stopped, was speaking to God, even though I wasn't a part of any church or anything. And in that conference, I heard his voice and I wept, because this man, Yeshua or Yahushua, whatever we know to call him, he's a savior and he's Lord. When he spoke to me, this love that's on, I just can't describe it, but I remember like it was yesterday. I was enveloped in his presence and his love, and he just broke everything that I went through and what I was carrying. And I wept for, I think, 3 days.
Wow.
And I was just about to sign a deal with Brand New Heavies. I was in Israel, and I was not this. I wasn't this tough girl that was walking around at first in Israel. When Christ came out, I was like jelly, and I just I just wept. And when I got back to England, and I told my management, I said, do you know what? I don't want to sign that deal anymore with Brand New Heavies. I don't want to be the lead singer. And I walked away from the first part of the contract was like 2 million, because there were a triple platinum selling group. But I just was so driven in this man, this feeling that I had. I just wanted to be that. And I knew, even though there was a lot of money there and my life was going to change, I know that it wouldn't be, I wouldn't have that happiness. If you know what I mean. It didn't have that depth, I don't know. It's just like when you're going out, you can sense danger. It's a feeling that you have inside, and you just know that, do you know what? This man loves me. I fell in love with him, with Christ, and I've not stopped loving him.
The ultimate thing with life is happiness, isn't it? So you made the decision that for you, in your heart, your spirit, your soul, you felt that is where your true happiness would lie. So that is really, wonderful to hear that your story is that, you found happiness, or you found something that you thought was your path to continued happiness. It's amazing, because so many people, are on that journey or want to find that. So, yeah, exactly.
I just want to. So Theo Madison has got a question for you. He says, shouldn't Christians go to non-Christian gospel events? Shouldn't Christians go to non-gospel events?
Well, I think that we're supposed to go into these places, but we must be the salt and light. But we mustn't. I don't want to use that word mustn't, because there's certain things that you can have a laugh and you can do things, but at the same time, being tuned why God sent you there. What is the mandate? What are you supposed to? Sorry?
But then isn't that then if we're saying that we shouldn't really go to certain places, then why would you go to work? Why would you go to the shop? Why? Because you're going to be interacting with people that are not Christians per se. So it's like you can't, not say you can't. I don't like even using that word. You can't, but I just think it just becomes very religious. Do you know what I mean? Kind of thing in terms
Yeah, but
of.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't say
Sorry,
you can't. I just think the mature, it's not for anyone to just go into that arena. I think the person has to be quite mature and be walking with God and know God for themselves. So, because if the person is just coming off of weed or that, coming out of that life, and they're gone right back in there, and they're not, strong enough to resist going back to that life, this is where it can become, questionable to certain people can go back in there, if you understand what I mean. So, but
then
I'm not saying that you can't go back in there, because I've been in there. I go in there. So, I got to minister at one of those big, like extravagant, like a dance or a party or a celebration, which was secular music. But they asked me to come in to sing my song, which was a gospel song. And I did, and people were touched. So I knew, and I stayed there for a bit. And I saw some people from my school I haven't seen for many years, and managed to interact with them and share and exchange numbers. And one of them's gone back to church now, and found a good place to worship, because there's not because it's named church doesn't mean everyone should go. You must go to a good church, a Bible believing church, I believe, and start your journey and getting to know God. You can't just follow a church. You got to have a relationship with God, if you understand. So there's a lot of questions and debates about this. But Christ did say, go into the highways and the byways, preaching the gospel. And then he said, making disciples, so, I don't believe that the church should just be in their church, and that's why we have different ministries that go out on the streets and feed the homeless and go to the clubs. You had the street pastors that used to be out there ministering, in these clubs or whatever. So, Theo, it's a very good question. And I believe that, we should go out there and win souls for Christ. But it's sometimes people use it as an excuse to go back to their life as well, if you know what I mean. So, like you were saying earlier,
Okay. Do you want to read this out, Jermaine?
Okay, all right. Yeah. So, Wesley Curry too says, Jesus said, "You are Allah." He said of the Holy Spirit, "No time to talk Allah." Are you going to write about that Jesus, or just perverted one you imagine, or just the perverted one you imagine? I don't get that point. So I'll read it again. Jesus said, "You are Allah." You are Allah. He's the Holy Spirit. So what are you thinking, Kaz? Is that
I think he's a Muslim, so he's got a different terminology of a different type of doctrine and religion. So I think that question, I used to be a Muslim at one point.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was a Muslim, and I read some of the Quran, not all of it. And I just, I don't know. It just didn't have that power or to keep me there. I don't know. That's my experience. And it's what they call. Sorry,
Alysha.
No, you go ahead.
No, you carry on. So you was in the middle of your sentence. Sorry. about when you
No,
was
it's
a
okay.
Muslim. It just had a
Yeah, we used to, we had to get up and we had to pray to the I think it's the east. I can't remember. Don't quote me on that. It's many, 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 many years ago. And I had the Quran. The guy that I used to go out with, he was a Muslim, and he wanted me to be that, and I was it. I didn't, make any fuss about becoming that. I did, and I used to get up and pray, and I just didn't feel anything in terms of to any roots. I don't know. It just did nothing for me, and then eventually I came out of it, and we fell out because he wanted me to read
wow.
the Quran, and I picked back my Bible up, even though I weren't in church, but I always used to have my Bible, and I don't know, it just didn't. I didn't feel right. Didn't feel right at all. But I did give it a chance.
Yeah. Sophia Wisdom says, "Thank you, Jesus, for Sister Alysha." That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sophie. Is it Sophie?
Yeah, Sophie with
Sophia Wisdom. That's
Oh, thank you.
beautiful. We've literally got like 8 minutes remaining of the show, and gosh, I feel like we could just be here for like another half an hour, but obviously the show.
Yeah. Life.
There's so much we can actually tap into, But I just want to talk about the new music that you've got. What's going on? What's happening? What's popping for Alysha? What's like, because you've got some new music coming out there. If you want to just share that so that people can, basically find out more about how they can get your music, etc.
Yeah, I've got 2 tracks coming out soon from the album. And there's one out already called Exceedingly Abundantly. That's on every digital platform. That's been out from June, and it's doing really well across the waters. It's doing really well. People are playing it in gyms, I heard. I'm getting some really good feedback on it. It's amazing. And I've got a new song coming. Yeah, thank you. And I've got a new song, which is Afrobeat stroke. It's got a heavy beat to it, though. It's Afrobeat, but it's really, it's a good. I like it. Everyone loves it in my team, and it's called Sweet Salvation. And we're about to drop that next week, and we're about to do a proper video and everything. The song, it's really expressing about, this sweet salvation, and I don't want to go into give it away too much, but it's going to be coming out soon. And the other one that's coming out, it's about my life as well. It's more of a slow jam, and it's called Change. It's called Change, and I just went in the studio. I was going through a lot. This is way before lockdown, and I asked the Stuart Green to play something really kind of slow, like Boys to Men vibe, something like that, but more on a kind of hymn like way, and but using that pad like contemporary music, and I just went in the studio and went on the mic and I just sang the whole song. It was just, and it was about my experience, what I went through, and that's coming out soon. Yeah, we've done the artwork to that and everything, so that's coming out soon.
So you've got a lot of new great stuff coming out. So, and people can go to, for the song that came out in June, they can go to all platforms.
Digital. Yeah.
To hear it. Okay, cool. And then what about your social media handles, or where people can find you, or if they want to keep up with what you're doing or follow you? Do you have Instagram, any of that stuff?
Oh yes, I'm on Instagram, TikTok, all
Yeah.
of them, every one of them. I don't really go on the Snapchat or whatever it's called, but I've just but I'm learning a bit more about it. But it's just so much, these passwords and all this stuff. But I'm getting used to it.
Yeah. So what are you named? Is it just Alysha on there, or what is your Instagram? Is it just your name?
Alysha Warren. It's Alysha Warren. Yeah.
For all social media platforms apart from Snapchat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No. Yeah. It's Alysha Warren on Snapchat as well. It's everywhere. Alysha Warren.
Okay.
You just find me on that.
And then we've got Theo. Is this Manderson? They said, "Are you gonna dance in the video?" Somebody wants to see you dancing.
Yes, I'm gonna be dancing with my tribal stuff on, the African vibe. Yeah, I'm learning a few moves still.
Yeah.
For Afrobeat, you know how they dance with the Afrobeat.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's amazing.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm a piano as well. I love that as well.
Yeah.
Loving that.
I'm looking forward to that. That song was produced by Mark Crawford.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wrote the lyrics, but Mark Crawford, he produced it. He's done such a great job because he's from the Caribbean. He's put like a little reggae heavy beat on. Anyway, I'm not giving away nothing. It's coming out soon.
Okay, wait. Do you need anybody else? Because I can volunteer.
Yeah. I'm gonna call you definitely.
Yeah, back in that.
I would just walk. I could just walk next to you.
I can do the moves. I can Afrobeats moves.
I don't even know about doing the moves. I would just want to do the video just with Alysha Warren.
That would be fantastic, man. That would look so good, And they all wear a blonde hair, wouldn't it? That would be amazing. And we all stand up like that,
For real, that would be nice.
But the bass line is when you hear it, I'm not saying nothing more.
I'm excited.
Nice. Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting.
Love bass line.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Who's this? Jackie.
Oh. Jackie Rooms, your bestie.
Oh, Jackie, that's my girl. Jackie, she's amazing. We were just together last week at the Peace concert, and which was really, really just so touching. Obviously, it's sad that they showed all the victims that perished in 2022 of knife crime, all the youths. And Jackie was instrumental in getting me to sing that song alongside with the founder, Marie. It was just powerful. People were so touched. I couldn't believe it. It was a cappella. And
I'm gutted that we can't play the video. For some reason, it just won't load up. I'm going to try because we still got like a few minutes remaining of the show. So whilst we're talking, I will try to get some of it. So at least we can end with you singing at least. Or if you don't mind even just ending the show, just singing something a cappella. No pressure or anything,
No pressure.
You could just bless up the show and sing. Just bless up the people there.
Yes. Did you manage to load it then?
I wasn't able to. Lady, I'm trying, but before you, sorry, my bad. Oops, yeah.
That weren't me, by the way.
Yes, I downloaded the wrong thing.
That would probably be me, like maybe 20 something years ago. I used to kind of wear that kind of. I had the figure too, so
Sorry, my apologies, guys. That was a picture of me. But I just don't know why I loaded up that. I'm supposed to be loading the video again. Let me just go back.
You really want to be in the video.
Trying to tell myself. Even Theo, Theo said he wants to be in a video as well. Theo Madison, he said, could he be in the video?
No,
Yes,
he definitely. Well. Yeah, he's definitely going to be in the video alongside you lovely ladies. Let's do it.
Yes, definitely.
Let's do it, man. Oh. Yeah, let's do it, man. And just, it's going to be really good. You're going to love the song. I know you are. It's really nice.
And the beat. When you say there's a B line and it's come from Jamaica,
when you hear that B line,
and I love it. I like to feel the bass.
Yeah, me too.
Alysha, can I wear battery riders? No.
But anyway, we need to pray about that.
Listen,
I haven't even heard that terminology from the 90s. Praise the Lord.
I haven't heard that for time. I haven't heard that myself.
But you know what? Come as you are. Come as you are. But maybe not in that video, but come as you are, and then we'll dress you up.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Okay. Have a stylist there, I think.
Because we don't want people looking at that and thinking, but we're thinking about God, but we can see this. Hold on a minute. There's a bit of a distraction going on there. And you know how men are as visuals, you know what they like to see. So we want to win the man them. We want to win them. We want to win the men, as much as the women,
Oh, boy, Jackie said, Lord Jesus, help them, for they know not what they do. Oh, boy. Listen, don't be throwing no holy water on me now.
Oh, dear.
Oh, mate, you know what? It's all good. It's all good. It's all love.
It's all good. It's love. It's love. It's love. And you know what? When I was in the world and I used to, be a certain way, God still loved me and he called me back, to do his work. And, the Bible does say you become a new creature, meaning that, you don't want to show off your flesh and your them nice little shape that you got there. You save that for your husband. Let him enjoy that, because you got a ministry. But that's part two. That's part two.
Yeah, that's part two.
No, we're gonna have that.
That's part two. You know why? Because there's some deep stuff into how we dress, the dress code, and I'm not talking about a religious thing. I'm talking about there's a spiritual thing behind that as well. It's heavy.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And I learned you learn a lot of things from these West Africa, and some of these people are very spiritual that know a lot of stuff. And it's just that we were brought up in the West, and some things we don't understand their meaning. And why did God want us to be modest about the way we dress? And there's a spiritual meaning about that.
Okay.
So, but that's part two.
Part two. Definitely part two.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna bless someone. So guys, make sure you do follow Alysha Warren on her Instagram. It's just literally her first name and her surname. And make sure you definitely look into her, because obviously she just shared she's got new music that's going to be coming out, Sweet Salvation and Change. So guys, make change. So make sure you are following so you can get the update. And sorry, I didn't mean to say you guys, I meant you. Make sure you are following Alysha, and make sure you are subscribed to the Now Chat Show, because if you like conversations like this, we have great conversations every single week on a Wednesday between the hours of 9 to 10:30. Next week, we do have part 2 of the menopause story. And we do have the 2 doctors from Atlanta who will be joining the platform with some Q&As. And then after that, then we also are advertising for those who do have small businesses. If you have a small business and you want to be featured, you want to showcase your business, by all means do get in contact with us. You can just send us a direct message on our Instagram, or just send us an email to info@nowchatshow.co.uk, and we will gladly feature you on our upcoming episode. And so until then, next time, peace out, and over to you, Alysha Warren. Sing us out.
Me? Okay.
No, he's not the singer.
I sure ain't either.
I thought you guys were going to be singing.
Oh, we don't want to scare the people. Want the people to come back to the show.
Lord, deliver me. All I seem to do is hurt me. No more hurting me, 'cause I got the victory. Lord, deliver me. That's all you're gonna get from me now, because I'm going to my bed. Thank you so much for having me. And
thank you so much.
I look forward for 2.
Yes, definitely.
Definitely. We definitely need to do part 2. So until next time, good night, everybody. Bye.
Good night.